Mike and Tom are registered with Stewart Partners Global Advisory LLC.
Common Sense Finance with Mike Wiginton and Tom Farrell of HL Wiginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Common Sense Finance. I'm Mike Wiginton, and this is the infamous Tom Farrell. All right, I'm sporting new casual wear today. I know you really like it, but I figure I'm going to get bent out of shape a couple of times. I'm going to be able to have complete flexibility and be able to move. So, for the last 18 months now, we've been dealing with this whole COVID coronavirus issue. We started out, and who knew that people were going to go home and start remodeling their houses? So everybody knew about the increase in lumber prices.
Nobody knew. Home Depot didn't know.
Home Depot didn't know.
You would think they would know. Anybody, they would know.
And nobody. And listen, no firm or forecasting entity that I know of, saw that coming. Right. That's fine. But I'm just saying, we all know. I would imagine everybody watching podcasts, is familiar with that, or the fact that there's shortages. They can't find the most ridiculous things. A water filter for your ice maker. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. And so what I want to do today was spin that around, and I want to talk about, because I know everybody's seeing it, all right, I want to talk about the energy aspect, okay, oil and gas, and the inflationary component there, all right, and I'll get into what I personally think is going to happen going forward. And if I had to put a name on today's podcast, it would be, because we've screamed about, we're getting into this, I've screamed about it for 2 years, and you know what I'm talking about. But now I would title this one, Can You Hear Me Now? Okay, so.
What's the subtitle?
I dropped that.
Okay, no, so all right.
Matt wouldn't produce it. Okay. Oliver Stone wouldn't produce it. Okay, right, so I dropped that other title. So let's talk about energy for a minute. If you've put fuel in your vehicle, you've seen gasoline prices going up, diesel fuel prices going up. If you've looked, for the last 10 or 12 years, we've had $2 to $3 natural gas, which was a byproduct of the shale, the boom in the shale space in this country, all right, and the hydraulic fracking as they call it, all right, that released all these abundance of natural gas.
So that was a byproduct of drilling for oil basically.
Yeah, so you're right. They're actually using that hydraulic fracturing in order to release oil. But and that's a good point you make, because it doesn't matter if it's offshore or onshore. Natural gas is one of the primary byproducts of drilling for oil. Okay, and that's something you may want to bring up later, when we get into that part of it. All right, but was it 2 years ago? We went through this series of, and I wrote about it in addition to doing our podcast about the whole ESG movement. Remember, ESG is the environmental social governance movement. That's just, in my view, it's radical. And there's so many financial institutions, serious financial institutions like BlackRock, that have signed on to this, and that they were calling basically for the demise of the fossil fuel industry. This is not my opinion. I've mentioned to you the UN Global Compact. Okay, we've already put that up on the screen in the past. If you want that information, please let us know. We'll give it to you. The Paris Accord on climate change, all of those. And hey, you need to sign up and you need to adopt these goals. And you're being bludgeoned publicly about it. Okay. Exxon has had 3 new directors put on their boards, because a lot of people don't understand this, is that when you own a fund of some sort and that fund has Exxon in it, you're the beneficial owner as a 401k participant, but who has control of those shares and votes those shares? It's BlackRock, or it's your mutual fund family. And I read an excerpt with CalPERS, which is short for California Public Employee Retirement Systems, which is the largest public pension in the country, that their message to Exxon was that they needed to grasp hold of the future, which was a zero emissions, zero fossil fuel state, and they need to radically change their business. Okay, so that's what you're dealing with, and that movement is a big reason why these exploration, the capital expenditure budgets of these companies, Exxon, Chevron, Total, Royal Dutch Shell, your four biggest ones, your four major players on this planet, why they've radically slashed their CapEx budgets for exploration. So what's that going to mean? What's going to happen with that?
Higher energy prices.
When you fly into any major city, and you don't have to, at night or early morning, before daylight,
Dark.
and you look, if you think, and you don't even have to do that. I mean, just sit down for a minute. If you think you can power the world's energy needs by a bunch of solar panels and windmills, that's irrational. That technology is not developed out.
No, we're not even close.
Maybe it will in the future, maybe it won't. Windmills have been around for a long time, ask the Dutch.
Yeah.
Okay? And so now we've brought all of this fossil fuel capacity offline. How do you turn it back on? You saw some numbers on coal recently. What were they?
Yeah. First of all, the price for coal, which had been suppressed for a long time, is at record highs right now, depending on what grade of coal you're looking at. And another thing I recently read is, coal powered plants produce 40% of the world's electricity right now. Not 5% or 10%, but 40%.
Down from well over between 50 and 60%
right.
a number of years ago.
But if you look at all the problems that people are having generating power, the rolling blackouts, things like that, you would think, man, but with 40% of coal plants still running, and we're having those kind of problems, if they want to get down to zero coal plant, it's going to be a long time before we're there, I think.
Well,
technology-wise.
I'll tell you this, and our own Oliver Stone's going to put that chart of natural gas prices up so you can see that, because I want to leave it here. Yeah. I absolutely believe, and this is solely my opinion, and we're talking about a lot of things that are not matters of opinion, by the way, things that are observable, they're countable, they're measurable,
right.
Okay? Like barrels of oil equivalent that's produced in a year by one of these companies. Mm-hmm. It's measurable, countable, those things. The number of oil wells that are actively drilling, okay, those are not matters of opinion. This is matters of my opinion. I think oil's going back to triple digits. Look at that chart of natural gas prices, all right? And I think that's going to continue. Our shale space in this country, the shale formations where we were getting so much of our natural gas, that play is over. It's not going back to where it was in 2014 or 15. I think higher fuel prices are here to stay. You're going to feel it when you pay your power bill at the end of the beginning of the month, and you're going to feel it when you put fuel, unless you have a Tesla, but then you're going to feel it when you're powering that thing up at your house with your electric bill. Mm-hmm. So that's my opinion on that. Anything else from you? All right. Thank you for being here.